The wind howled across the empty Texas plains, whispering through the broken fence posts and rusted barbed wire. Inside a modest wooden ranch house, the only light came from the flickering flame of an old oil lamp. John Whitaker, a single dad turned recluse, hadn't had visitors in years, not since he buried his wife and watched his son leave for war, never to return. He lived in silence now. The cattle were gone, the barn half collapsed, and the once bustling ranch had grown still. Each morning, John made coffee, talked to his dog Max like he was a person, and stared at the photograph of his son, Daniel, in uniform. Every creak of the wind sounded like footsteps that never came. Until one cold evening everything changed. As the sun dipped behind the hills, headlights pierced the dusty horizon. John squinted through the curtains. A military Humvee. Then another. Then a third. Dust kicked up as they pulled onto his property. He stepped onto the porch, heart pounding, shotgun resting behind the door just in case. Out stepped 11 women, tired, dusty, and clearly soldiers. The leader, a woman with deep eyes and a tired strength in her shoulders, stepped forward. "Sir," she said, saluting out of habit. "I'm Captain Emily Rhodes. Our convoy was ambushed 10 miles east. Communications are down. We need shelter for the night, maybe longer." John looked at her, then at the others, some bleeding, some limping, all exhausted. He hesitated only a second. "You're safe here," he said quietly. "Come inside." That night, 11 women who had faced fire, blood, and chaos found warmth in a place long abandoned by joy. John's simple home became a haven. His fireplace, once lit only for himself and Max, now gave heat to battle-worn strangers. At first, there was silence. The women didn't speak much, and John didn't push. He cooked what little food he had: beans, cornbread, and coffee. In the quiet clinking of spoons and the occasional murmured thanks, a strange peace settled in. But the real transformation began on the second morning. John found Sergeant Maria Collins, a sharp-eyed mechanic, already fixing his old generator out back. "Thought I could repay your kindness," she said. That afternoon, Private Grace Miller, the youngest among them, started tending to the vegetable patch that had gone wild. "My grandpa had a farm," she shrugged. "I miss the dirt." By the end of the week, his barn had been cleared out. They converted it into a bunkhouse with tarps and hay bales. The once abandoned ranch pulsed with life again. Laughter returned. Meals grew bigger. And John, for the first time in years, didn't eat alone. Still, the scars ran deep for all of them. Captain Rhodes confided one night by the fire. "We lost our medic, Hannah. She was like my sister. I keep waking up expecting to see her. But she's gone." Her voice broke, and John quietly poured her more coffee. "I lost my son," John said, finally. "Daniel. 5 years ago. Army. Never came home." Their grief met in silence, but it was the kind of silence that heals rather than breaks. The biggest challenge came in the form of Major Davidson, a superior officer who finally located their squad 2 weeks later. He arrived with choppers and orders, expecting to evacuate the women immediately. But they refused. "We're not just soldiers here," said Specialist Rachel Monroe. "We're people again." Davidson didn't understand, but Captain Rhodes made a plea on their behalf. "We're safe here. We're healing. Give us a month." He agreed, reluctantly. That month turned into 3. During that time, John began teaching them ranching. How to repair fences, how to saddle a horse, how to listen to the land. And in return, they brought life back to the place he thought would die with his son. They built a small memorial behind the barn, for Hannah, for Daniel, for all the names carried in silence. Every Sunday, they stood in front of it and bowed their heads. No sermons. Just memory and respect. And then, winter turned to spring. Orders came again. Deployment. A new base. A new mission. The women packed their things with heavy hearts. John stood quietly, unsure if he should speak. But before they left, Emily Rhodes walked up to him and handed him a folded flag. Daniel's name is on this now, she said softly. And so is Hannah's. You gave us something we didn't know we needed. A home. Then Grace hugged him. Then Maria. One by one, they all did. When the last truck left the ranch, John stood on the porch, not alone, but surrounded by echoes of laughter, strength, and healing. To the single dad who opened his door one lonely night and, in doing so, found a new kind of family.